You don't have to get lost in what you feel like the rest of the world is telling you to do. Choose your own battles instead. You're not alone in facing the problem of feeling like you have to show up everywhere all the time for everybody. I'm sure most of us have gone through this, and if you haven't, it's only a matter of time. Deep down, I think we all know that you can't possibly show up for everything, everywhere, all at once. No, but you can't show up for everything. It's physically impossible. You're not omnipotent, you're not omnipresent, you're human, but so many of us, in so many different points of our lives, feel like we have to. But again, the truth is, we can't. But because that truth is so difficult to face in so many phases of our lives, we all kind of lie to ourselves that, hey, no, I can do this, I've got this. I can stack on this obligation with this obligation and schedule back to back. Sometimes we end up double booking, even if you're able to make it work, maybe for a few weeks or a few days at a time. You're eventually going to end up feeling exhausted. No time for yourself, no time for your hobbies, no time to take care of yourself, and no time to actually think and process what just happened or really let things sink in. And initially you might think that that's fun, that's invigorating, that's great, I love back-to-back plans, but eventually it will catch up to you, and it ends up becoming overbearing. You feel this pressure, you feel this weight that, oh, I have to say yes to that, I have to show up to that. You end up thinking that everything in your life and everyone is of the same importance, but the harsh and tough to face reality of it is that they're not. We all have that friend that is always showing up to everything, that feels like they have to make friends with everybody, that's chasing either their fear of missing out or the sense of wanting approval from others. And at the end of the day, they feel exhausted, they feel drained, they don't really feel like they belong, and they don't feel like they have any friends at all. Maybe that's you, maybe that's somebody you know that you've been trying to help out for a long time. The problem is with most people like that is that they don't really know what to prioritize. They don't know what's the most important things for them. They don't know how to choose their battles because they don't even know what battles are worth choosing. And so they end up choosing everything because they don't know what else to do, and they end up depleting themselves because there's no priorities. They don't know themselves well enough to know what to prioritize because they don't know what actually matters to them. It's hard to be true to yourself, especially when you're aware of how you might be judged by the rest of the world for sticking to your guns. You have to be able to choose what to prioritize because you need to know what actually really matters to you. And the more you know yourself, the easier that becomes. When it comes down to it and you ask yourself what fulfills you, only a few of the things that are on your list that are in front of you will actually go through that filter. Not everything holds equal importance. And it's difficult because maybe you're one of those people out there that feels like, oh, I want to be there for everybody. I want to be present for everything. Regardless, you have limited resources. You are a limited resource. You have your own cup. And if you're trying to fill everybody else's cup, you will eventually get to a point where your cup doesn't even have anything in it to fill anything else. If you really want to be a quality presence, you can't just do that when your cup is depleted. And I'm not telling you to cut everybody off. What I am telling you to do is to pause. Just stay still for a moment and think to yourself, who amongst the people in your life actually matters the most to you? And you have to be wise and honest with yourself, because that's the difficult thing, isn't it? You find it difficult to say, this person's closer than the other, this person's more important to me than the other, this relationship is more fulfilling to me, because it feels harsh. But the truth of it is you're just being honest with yourself, and you're giving your attention and you're prioritizing the people that actually mean more. That's not a bad thing at all. Our relationships are different from each other. That's just the way that it is. If everything was the same, then none of them would be special. And when you look at yourself as a limited resource, you realize that your time, your energy, your body, your mental state, your spirit, they're limited resources that you can only give so much to so many people. You should preserve yourself, and then preserve the things that are most important to you before you even consider to deal with anything else past that point. And if you don't know what to prioritize, that becomes a difficult thing, not just for you, but for the people around you, the people that actually matter to you. You're acting as if everything's equal and you don't know what to prioritize, and therefore nothing's prioritized. You don't show up better for the person that actually means something to you than the person that's just an acquaintance. You don't show up and do better at something that you actually really care about doing compared to the thing that you're just kind of okay with doing. because you don't know how to choose your battles, you end up fighting every battle with this little strength, with this little focus. Because you're not focused, you're literally shooting a scattered shot at all directions as best as you can, but that means that your shot isn't precise. That means your shot doesn't have as much impact as it could if you just focused on the few targets. All of this also goes into the idea of boundary setting. You need to know when to say no to something, when you're not okay with something. Maybe you're okay with something to a certain degree, but not past a certain point, and that's perfectly fine. But you have to establish that within yourself and with everybody else. And the more you're sure, the less you're gonna be like, I don't know, maybe I'm okay with it. No, you will be more secure. You will know which is a yes, which is a no, and where something lies in between. Because that's the thing, not everything is black and white. You don't always have to put in 100% into something and then 0% into another thing. Give things varying degrees of priorities. How much or how little you're going to show up is determined by how much you know who you are, by how much you know what matters to you. You're only going to get better at knowing what you should do in life the more you practice having that discernment, the more you practice asking yourself the right and the real questions, and being honest with yourself with the actual answers. And again, in terms of helping, let's say you just want to be a positive force of change in the world, or within your small circle, you have to be more discerning on who you want to help and how you want to help. For example, you might have planned your entire day. You know exactly what you're going to do at what time and where. But then out of nowhere, somebody in your life asks you for help. That gets in the way of the day that you had planned. Now you have to choose. Where do you want to be? What's more important for you? Where do you want to show up? Which battle are you choosing? At the end of the day, even if you help somebody out and it's not wholeheartedly a thing that you were willing to do, it will affect you and it will affect that relationship because it affects the way that you see that person. There's that knot in your chest that, I didn't actually want to do that, but I felt obligated to. And now there's that feeling of obligation in that friendship that wouldn't have otherwise been there if you just knew to say no. So how do you do that? Like I said, take a moment and breathe. The more you know who you are, what you love, who you love, what you love doing, and who you want to be, it leaves you with less questions, less decisions to make of where you have to be or what you want to do, because you just know. You know who you are, you know what you're about, you know who you love and what you love and where you should be to show up for all those things. And the thing is, we're at different levels, we're at different stages and seasons in our lives, and seasons come and go. You might not know your direction or your purpose in life, and you might not still be able to identify which relationships, which friendships really are the most important for you at the moment. And that's fine, but you have to start somewhere. You have to ask yourself these questions, and you have to start thinking about it, even if you feel like you don't have the answer, which you may very well not yet. You will never get to an answer if you never even begin to ask yourself those questions anyway. So start today. You might not have the same answers that I have. You won't. This current season where we're at is specific to you. Seasons come and go. You're not always going to fight the same battles. You're not always going to run the same circuits. I know I'm in a current season where I need to be alone most of the time, where I need to focus and work on myself, to work on YouTube, to work on my professional career, improve my lifestyle in general. That means I don't have as much time to just hang out with anyone and everyone all the time. You might be in an opposite situation where what you actually need to do and what you actually need is to be around people. But you're not going to know what you need unless you start evaluating who you are and what you want your life to eventually be. Using myself as an example, I know that I've got people because my family is there for me and my friends are there for me. So I'm in a secure position, which gives me, honestly, the privilege of just choosing to spend more time by myself so that I can work on what's in here. But some people won't get that. People won't understand your journey. Not everybody will, not all the time. And some will even resent you. They don't understand you. That's not the direction that they're going. That's not a season they've ever had in their life. Those aren't needs that they've ever felt. And that's fine. People are different, but you have to stick to your guns. Again, with me, who's used to being alone, who's okay with going on his own journey. Some people are more dependent on their friends than I am, so they expect me to be the same. but I'm not. This has become a conflict with some people because they just think that I don't care, or that I'm a fake friend. I just know what I'm about, and if they can't take that, then I know that I will find people that understand and respect I'm on my own journey, as much as I understand and respect that they are on their own. And you know what? I have people in my life right now precisely because I've found the people that get it, that respect it, and that are okay with it. I've had to give up friendships. I've had to give up relationships that didn't work for me because they weren't healthy and they weren't fulfilling. I'm sure I'm not the only one. There are just some relationships that, despite the best of intentions, despite the best of efforts from either side, they just don't work. And you have to be honest that they just aren't working. Of course, I encourage you to give it a solid try, to try to make it work. But if it's not, it's not, and you have to be honest with yourself. You have to learn when to let go, as much as you should learn to keep something around. Because choosing your battles doesn't just mean knowing what to pursue, it's also knowing what not to pursue. I know it might hurt in the moment, but believe me, in the long run, it will be worth it. And you will be thanking yourself. I don't want you to mistake that I'm encouraging you to only be around people that give you stuff, that give you money, or that give you favor or access to things. That's great, that's cool. But for me, I've literally kept around friendships and relationships, platonic and romantic, just because I value the person alone. I love their presence, I love their company. They're just lovely to be around, and I feel good when I'm around them. I've been asked more than once by a girl that I was seeing, why her, why stick around, why did I feel so sure? And for one specific instance, it was just as simple as, I love your company. You're a lovely person and I enjoy your company, and that's it. I'm not looking for anything else because you alone are worthwhile. And that was it. There was a lot more to it, but at the core of it, that was the reason why I stuck around. And with friendships, I have a similar standard. If you're a good enough friend, I could sit down by the curb with you at 4 a.m. and have the most fulfilling conversation. We don't have to have an agenda, we don't have to have good food or a vibey place with good ambience. It could just be us talking about life. It could be the best time ever. So with me, I know that those are the two things that I'm looking for, romantic or platonic. And that is enough to explain a lot of who I choose to be around. It's because I know who I am, I know what I want, and I know what I can give. So I'm choosing my battles. I'm choosing you as my friends. I'm choosing this as my approach in life, and I'm choosing this as the way that I will show affection. And I will choose you as the person that I will pursue to give this affection. I know what I want. I know who I want, and I know what I'm about. I'm not first chasing after status or clout or money or whatever they can provide me, aside from the personal fulfillment of being around people that I consider to be good company, to be worthwhile company. I will give them my time, my attention, because my values align with that kind of person. Knowing what I don't like, knowing what I like, knowing what I'm about and what I'm not about. Both give me the discernment to choose the friendships that I chose in the moment and the relationships that I chose in the moment, and also know to keep going with them or when to give them up. I want you to be strong enough to stand up for yourself, for who you are, for what you need. And I also want to save you from depleting yourself, from depleting your time, your energy, your heart, from things that aren't worth it, bringing you to a direction in your life that you don't actually want to go, so that you're able to pour yourself out to the things that actually mean something to you. Part of caring about others means that you have to care about yourself too. How you show up, how you talk, how you express yourself, choices that you make, they're all a result and they're all a symptom of who you are inside and the work that you've put in here, so that the next time you show up for something and you show up for someone, that conversation is that much better. The way that you help out is that much better. Your energy alone is that much higher. All of this becomes easier the better you know yourself, and those answers will always change. But I hope that everything that I've said here gives you more cause to be stronger, braver than you currently are, and to ask yourself the truly important questions in your life. And the more direction in life you have, the more you have the wisdom and the discernment to choose the battles and the direction that you will take. And it makes life that much easier, and you're able to show up for yourself better when you need yourself the most. And the more you do this, the more confident you also become, because you know what you're about, you know what to say yes to, you know what to say no to. That leaves you with very little room for wondering if you made the right decision, what aligns with you. I hope that this helps you in building your identity, and I hope that you start asking yourself the questions that lead you to more certainty in your life, in who you are. If this helped you, or you feel like this would help somebody else important in your life, I would appreciate it if you left a like, if you commented, subscribed, and shared this video. Especially share this video to somebody it could be helped by. And if you have something to say, leave them in the comments. You could also follow me on social media at Sentient Poison and at Saravan Vesper. That's my new main account that I'm trying to grow. I really hope that this video helped you, and in any way that you want to support this channel, go ahead and do so. Thanks again. Cheers.